What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and today's episode is also being featured. Thank you very much to the Jeff Meacham Network for featuring this episode in the non-Dads on Wrestling weeks. And today I'm going to be discussing from 2017, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, starring Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, Karen Gillan, Nick Jonas, Alex Wolff, Sir Darius Blaine, Madison Eisman, Morgan Turner, Mason Guccione, Colin Hanks, and Bobby Cannavale. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. Thank you once again to the Jeff Meacham Network for allowing me to broadcast this episode, as I do an episode every other Friday on the Nod Dads on Wrestling Weeks. Today I'm going to be discussing the second installment in the Jumanji trilogy and the first installment with our new cast. If you tuned in yesterday, then you heard me say that the Jumanji trilogy is kind of different in the fact that none of the characters from the original movie, with the exception of one, appear in the second movie, and that one that appears has been completely recast. So there's very little that ties the two together, but they do tie together. Let's get down to it, shall we? And our film opens basically right where the last one ended. The Jumanji board game is half buried in the sand on the beach, and it's 1996. A man is jogging on the beach, and he finds the game. He brings it home and gives it to his son, Alex Vreek. And Alex is your typical 90s teenager. He's not interested in board games. He's into video games. Alex puts it aside, and when he returns to his room later that evening, the board game has turned into a video game console. Being a gamer, he plugs it in, selects his character, and he ends up getting sucked inside the video game. His disappearance causes his father to become despondent, and his home to become known as the Freak House. Falls into despair. The house is in shambles. We then jump ahead 21 years, and we meet our four main characters. Awkward and nerdy Spencer, athlete Fridge, Bethany, kind of a snobby, shallow girl, and Martha, who's a bit of a rebellious one. All of whom get sentenced to detention for various things over the course of a day. Bethany gets sent there for talking on her phone during a quiz, Martha for refusing to participate in physical education and insulting the PE teacher, and Spencer and Fridge because Spencer wrote Fridge's homework assignment. The principal orders the quartet to clean the school basement. And while they're cleaning, Fridge discovers an old video game system with the game Jumanji in it. Spencer sets it up, and the foursome decides to play because it's better than cleaning the basement. Once they select their characters, they are sucked into the video game, much like Alex was. Spencer becomes Dr. Smolder Bravestone. Fridge becomes Franklin Moose Finbar. Bethany becomes Professor Shelley Oberon, short for Sheldon. And Martha becomes Ruby Roundhouse. And as the team begins to come to grips with the situation, they discover 3 lines on their arm, which kind of appear to be tattoos. Spencer deduces that it's their life count. If they lose their 3 lives, game over. Not just in the game, but they could very much die in real life as well. The group ends up encountering Nigel, and Nigel is an NPC, or a non-playable character. And Nigel provides the group with their mission, as well as character backstories. They learn that in order to defeat the game, they must break a curse on Jumanji that was brought forth by Van Pelt. And Van Pelt stole a jewel known as the Jaguar's Eye from its shrine, and therefore gained control of all the jungle animals. Nigel gives Spencer the jewel, having stolen it himself from Van Pelt, and he instructs the group to return the gem to the statue and call out Jumanji in order to break the curse. Now let me pause right here for a second, because Van Pelt is the only character that carried over from the original film. In the original film, he was played by Jonathan Hyde. In this film, he's played by Bobby Cannavale. Completely different looks. In fact, they reimagined the character completely for this film. But it's the only carryover character from the original film. Now then, the quartet begins to cope with the weaknesses of their characters, Van Pelt's men, and the animosity between Spencer and Fridge. During one of their missions, they encounter Jefferson Seaplane McDonough, who takes them to a home in the jungle which was constructed by Alan Parrish, Robin Williams' character in the original film. While they're there, they learn that McDonough is really Alex Vreek. And Alex believes that he's been in the game for only a few months. So when he learns that he's been in there for 20 years, he's shocked beyond belief. The foursome right then and there vows to help Alex return home. The group worked together in order to overcome their obstacles en route to the shrine. And upon their arrival at the shrine, Van Pelt corners them. They formulate a plan, and they have Fridge, Bethany, and Alex distract Van Pelt, while Spencer and Martha return the jewel to the statue. Once they do and are successful, they call out Jumanji, destroy Van Pelt, and after a congratulatory handshake from Nigel, they return to the real world. Spencer, Fridge, Bethany, and Martha return to the school basement, and they discover that Alex isn't with them. While walking home, they discover that the freak house is no longer in ruins. It's been kept up, restored, it looks beautiful, and it's decorated for Christmas. A car pulls up, and Alex gets out of the driver's seat. He tells his family, to go on inside the house. I'll be right there. And he goes to talk to the 4 kids. He tells them that the game sent him all the way back to 1996, which is where he entered the game. Which allowed him to live his life, get married, and have kids. And he even named his daughter Bethany as a tribute to the girl who saved his life in the game. Because remember, I mentioned the 3 strips on their arms for their power lives. Alex lost all of his. And Bethany gave him CPR to revive him, which took away one of her lives in order to restore his. So she still had one life left after doing so, and Alex was able to survive and return home. So, as I said, as a tribute, he named his daughter Bethany. As a result of their adventure in Jumanji, the quartet become really good friends. Bethany becomes a much better person. Spencer and Fridge make amends, and Spencer even begins to date Martha. And when the group begins to hear the drums of Jumanji, Fridge destroys the system with a bowling ball in order to prevent anyone from playing the game ever again. You know, yesterday when I discussed the original, I mentioned that there were things that I enjoyed better in this one. And while I do find the fact that Bethany pre the game was really undesirable, like I just couldn't stand her. I still felt that she was less whiny than Peter and Judy. And granted, there's an age difference between the characters. Bethany is a junior or maybe a senior in high school. Peter and Judy are upper elementary, junior high at best. So there's definitely an age gap there. But I just felt that the most annoying character in the sequel was still less annoying than Peter and Judy, if that makes sense. Obviously, this one has Dwayne Johnson, known to WWE fans as The Rock. I'm a huge Rock fan. I always have been. So that makes this one a little bit more desirable. And much like Alex, I grew up in the 90s. You know, I was Alex's age in the 90s. I wasn't a board game guy back then. I was a video game guy. So the whole board game in the 90s, I feel like the video game upgrade was just what it needed to make it a little bit more relatable and a little bit more desirable. The cast here all around is phenomenal. Again, Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, Karen Gillan. All of them do a tremendous job with their characters. Whereas in the original, I really only enjoyed Robin Williams, Bonnie Hunt, and a little bit of Jonathan Hyde. Jonathan Hyde had a dual role in the original, playing Sam Parrish, Ellen's father, and Van Pelt. I I think that's just the reason why I gravitate towards this a little bit better, a little bit more. Although I do feel like they should have capitalized on Jumanji while it was hot in the 90s and done a sequel then. I really enjoy the nod to Alan Parrish that they made in this one. And I feel like it was a classy way to remember Robin Williams' character from the original. When it comes to my star rating for this one, 4.5 out of 5. I really like this one that much more than the original. I might be crazy. Let me know what you guys think. Those of you that are out there watching the premiere, leave your comments over here. Those of you that are watching me on demand, leave your comments down here. I'm very curious to see what you guys think. Am I out of my mind in that I love this one that much more than the original? Tell me. Let's get out there on social media, get those hashtags trending. hashtag Casa D18 Studios, hashtag Renegades Reviews, hashtag Renegade Returns, and of course the ever popular hashtag Shenanigans. We interrupt this episode of Renegades Reviews for an important announcement about
merchandising.
Merchandising? What's that?
Merchandising. Come, I'll show you. Merchandising, where the real money's made.
Make sure you go over to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network for all the t-shirts you see here from the West Coast professor, Jeff Meacham himself. You can get shirts for the Jeff Meacham Network, Talk Wrestling, as well as the red and gold Meachamania shirts. And while you're there, don't forget to get your shirts of the Casa D18 Studios Brotherhood, the Dads on Wrestling shirt, the Renegade JJ Williams, Statboy Sports Bar, and the hashtag StatBoyApproved shirt. Make sure you go over to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network and score your shirts today. Don't forget to get out there. Do what that commercial just told you. Go to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network. Score you all your official merchandise of the Jeff Meacham Network. We got 3 designs for the Jeff Meacham Network logo. Meachamania, Talk Wrestling. Get you your official t-shirts of the Casa D18 Studios Brotherhood, the Renegade JJ Williams, Dad's Not Always on Wrestling, Statboy Sports Bar, and so much more. Tomorrow, back here exclusively on the Casa D18 Studios channel, when I bring you yet another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. Make sure you tune in as I close out the Jumanji trilogy with 2019's Jumanji: The Next Level, starring Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, Karen Gillan, Nick Jonas, Alex Wolff, Sir Darius Blaine, Madison Eisman, Morgan Turner, and Colin Hanks, all returning and reprising their roles. And we introduce Danny Glover and Danny DeVito to the story that is Jumanji. Thank you guys for joining me, watching along. Once again, those of you that have been watching the premiere, make sure you leave your comments over here. Those of you that watch on demand, leave your comments below. I will get back to you. I appreciate each and every one of my loyal viewers and my fans. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.